keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
Yeah, so this would be what I call context matters shorts. Um, and usually, always, Reggae Global Radio. Um, if you're on the YouTube as well as TikTok, big up yourself. Now, very interesting week. There has been about several things happening in the social media space. Most important one is the um, bulldozing of houses of Jamaicans. Most unfortunate. Um, in any circumstances, it's always going to be unfortunate. So I have an official statements out there. I went to um, Trelawney and I have met with the victims, as well as the victims who were, um, falsely imprisoned, and just the entire trauma and the ordeal. There are many issues that surround the unfortunate event, sad day in Jamaica, and if you are a Jamaican that has empathy and compassion, you're going to feel a sense of frustration, anger. There is what I know is a reality is that discrimination is real in Jamaica, and the narratives that are painted are sometimes difficult to cipher out. But I always say context matters, language matters, you know, recognizing that having lived in other countries where freedom of expression is of utmost importance. Culture is important, language is important, language barriers are important, history is important, civics is important, education also is important. Where persons fall short on the inability to understand language, or the other verse, the other side of it, and the other side of it is where persons actually are deliberate and malicious in what they choose to make the center of attention. And I just want to start by saying this, having mature consideration, I have to realize that, in sticking to the issues, they said when in law, when you have the law, you argue the law. When you're not sound on the law, you argue the facts. When you're not sound in law and facts, you attack the person. So it's simple. But a true issue is that persons were displaced during hurricane season. Um, Noticing law has nothing to do with a judgment notice. Noticing law actually is about um, whether or not the courtesies, a proper notice was given that a particular event is going to take place. Um, so even if you have a judgment and it's time to enforce it, when you are ready to do that, you serve the notice to say this is going to happen at this particular time. So private matters taking place in Jamaica. And let me tell you something, the demolition of homes is nothing new in Jamaica. So the repetitive nature and the context upon which poor people who are trying people, and poor in this sense is the inability to not be lucky enough to own land and have it titled in your name. And the evidence in this situation is somewhat different. And why am I saying the evidence is so much different? Well, guess what? When one think of Cooper's Pen, these are individuals that tried to purchase the land, and then government changed the zone, ironically, they're changing the value of land right now. There is an exercise to do so. So land that was 200,000, maybe 2 million. And something. So when you're negotiating and you're trying to buy land and you could one time buy it for 3 million and it reached $50 million, the goalposts always shift. None of that is of any import as it is about process and procedure. So I wear many hats. The hats I wear, an attorney at law, first and foremost, most important, and I am honored to be an attorney. I've also September 3rd, almost a year, I would have entered into representational politics to where the people of Portland Eastern would have naturally given me a mandate, and I'm now the member of parliament for Portland Eastern. What I want to say or want to add though is that it is just as important. Like the many hats that I wear, I'm very, very honored to be able to say that I'm one of few persons that have been able to do screen, camera, on camera, professionally, as well as music professionally, as well as an accomplished author professionally. But I'm saying all of this is that when one wears many hats, it's equally TikTok is a space where you know the interactions are sometimes unreal is an understatement, but to say that there is a language. It is the language of youth. It is the language of a cross section of societies, plural cultures, plural, and just all walks of life meeting in a melting pot, which is reminiscent of out of many one. So on Wednesday morning, I was doing my exercise live, which I usually do in the morning when I work out. And during that time, the live was, I spoke at length, having done the press release, having decided that I was going to talk about the Cooper's Pen. So I spoke at length about the atrocities perpetrated against the residents of Cooper's Pen, Trelawney. Like many others, I was angered by the approach, the result, and the state's participation. Now, I made no apology for the anger, and I need people to understand that. 40 families, among them children, elderly persons, and persons with disabilities, were woken before dawn by bulldozers, and they lost in a matter of hours everything they had, worked for and built in over 30 years. As we're talking in the 90s, time flies so fast. In the course of that broadcast, right during live, yeah, I use words which have been understood by non TikTokers as encouraging persons who were not affected by the demolition to present themselves as though they were. And I want to be unambiguous for this. Those off the cuff remarks were made strictly to break the tension and monotony of a long live stream. And anybody on TikTok know you between the tapping up the screen, sharing the live, and the comments and the monologues and the characters that you go in and out of, you have to be animated. But notwithstanding, you know, they were never intended to be taken as a literal directive. In when you are versed with language and literature, you can make metaphors, similes, and people can selectively understand what you're saying. I could have a conversation about legal impossibility and all of that, but what I will say is to not distract. um, I want to say further that the said comments on social media platform do not represent my thoughts and opinions on the subject. So Relief intended for displaced families, it belongs to displaced families if at all they're going to get any relief from government. So, to this extent, anyone who heard me on Wednesday and understood me otherwise should take this statement as a total withdrawal of it. Now, I would propose that the substance of this conversation, and that is the bulldozing and disenfranchisement of the people of Cooper's Spade, yeah, it should not be diverted from the atrocities perpetrated against the people with the assistance of the state. Whatever the private property rights, the state owed these citizens due process, and it is not yet established that they received it. Um, I commend the intervention, which is extremely temporary, but I remain resolute in my defense of basic human rights that should be enjoyed by all Jamaicans. I will continue to champion the cause of those who cannot advocate for themselves, those who can't afford to get the advocacy, those who do not know about the rights that they have, and when placed under mental hardship, suppression, and oppression, how afraid they are when those who have power exercise the power, abuse the power to cut you down. So I am equally committed to the rule of law. Let me make that clear. It is therefore my intention to pursue this matter in Parliament and, where instructed, in the courts. My unequivocal withdrawal of this statement is made with the hope that the focus returns to the plight of the 40 displaced families and to what this government and indeed the nation intends to do about the homes still standing on lands in question. I just want it to not be said that I'm not taking note. I don't live in a bubble. I'm a human being. And I have in the past, you know, been attacked by the government, by many persons on social media, the vitriol, the bullying, and they always say they say, God don't come himself, because I saw where a young professor in the United Kingdom, he was being investigated for plagiarism. He resigned because there was a call for him to resign. And then, the vitriol on social media, they found him dead in his flat um, today. And it's what prompted me to come on the the live, because every hour on the hour, today and yesterday, I saw some reference to an out of context, you know, statement, the effort placed, the resources, both from government, from social spaces, the call to cut down. And I take I do understand, and I'll address it. I don't know what the fixation is in relation to, you know, just talks about convictions, talks about many levels and walks of discrimination, calls to trim me, calls for resignation, conversations. I mean, overtly obsessive conversations about calling me out of my name, inclusion of my mother, my father, my brother, my family, questions about who I sleep with, all of these things. And I won't descend into the arena, but to say that I anchor my expectations on God. My duty and my God given talent is to always speak up for the poor and the least among us. I have compassion. I have empathy. I understand what it is to how to be oppressed. I completely understand when the powers that be want to cut you out and cut you down. I know the calls from government, senators, the entire government. It says the Jamaica Labour Party in one press release, and the calls for my resignation. Um, I understand as well that political pageantry and the performative aspect of it is of utmost importance in the political arena. But the distraction, I would hope persons to realize and understand that the order of the day is the people. Where will they sleep tomorrow? Where will they live? Conversations about adverse possession. The prime minister's stance that squatting should not be allowed, even though the current state of the law is that it is the right of any citizen to partake in adverse possession. Legally, I'm blessed to be competent. The persons who are calling for resignation, the persons who have falsely put out of context gesture, jest and banter and animated caricature as a part of the context of the streaming. Today, I became number one on TikTok, and that's a part of the social media space. It forms part of the research of DEEP, the Digital Economy Educational Program, being launched in September. The importance of I just want people to appreciate, and because I would never be me if I don't speak on it. Um, I've never seen any of the government ministers and personnel actually call on the prime minister to resign. They have not called on, and I have not ever in any of the spaces where my colleagues are concerned on either side. I have the greatest of respect for them. I don't call them out their names. I don't pay people to call them dirty rasta. Don't pay them to call them derogative words. Don't pay them to invite people into their bedrooms and be discriminative, um, as well as classes and talking about whether persons are there by merit. One thing no one can contest, and I put you to it, prevent me from having to file lawsuits and clog the courts for misinformation. But I have not participated in or have never called for the resignation of any of my colleagues, even though many of them are being investigated for illicit enrichment and corruption. I have not said that, and I respect the law. I've spoken about what the doctrine of sub judice means, and things that do not touch and concern the advancement and welfare of the people, and what things that persons ought to have known that if you go into the legal realm and the false accusations about incitement, when that is a legal term and there must be um possibility. So incitement doesn't come from a legal impossibilities, and those who ought to know better have never addressed the point. We have proper um mechanisms by the government. Just recently, an exercise from Melissa and previously by Beryl, the improvement by geotagging, confirming, and assessing. The mathematical accuracy between knowing that 20 houses were bulldozed and those houses need to be replaced. One could never have gone outside of the reality to think that somebody could benefit and claim a house or a home. So while it is that someone has taken out of context and has not taken the opportunity to go through the 2 hours of conversation when one was talking about what a dialectic thinker is, the dualistic um, the dualistic reality of two thoughts and the inability. And I can tell you, I understand nepotism is real. I'm an elected official, and when selective officials take um, a position that is not real, when a legal and when a entity that is not a legal entity puts out press release and is very disrespectful and condescending, if there is a need to say that if one black man is going to stand up for the rights of the citizens, then I understand it is historical and repetitive. Paul Bogle died for the rights for voting rights. So did George William Gordon. That is a fact. The argument and conversations about land. There was a time when you could not vote unless you own land. So land ownership is significant. And those who stood up to ensure that the right to vote and making the right choice is there for you, and giving people land so that they can participate. Um, then you have an understanding and you have an appreciation that you will be crucified. I am not Barabbas. I can tell you that. And I'm very, very critical, and I'm inviting the Jamaican people, because it's the Jamaican people that in the first place caused me to be in politics. And I want people to understand that I've said this many a times. The disrespect that I have seen, even now coming from my colleagues, the call to strip me of my integrity, knowing that I'm not here by nepotism. I was not selected. I'm an elected official, and also knowing that I Context Matters was birthed by bullying by media houses. In fact, my saving grace during a most seminal case in the history of Jamaica was Fox News, CNN, and BBC, because I do understand, and I stay here as a human being, and every hour on the hour a targeted attempt to malign my character, knowing, listen, I say this all the time. Let me show you how I humanize myself and protect my family from social media, so that you don't um this just this week there a social media, a TikToker said that he would he threatened to unalive my mother, my father, and my brother. And it caused me to pause, and I said, I'm God serving and God fearing, so I understand as these things come, but I'm also a human being, and I thank God that He has given me the ability to um, be the grandson of James Samuel Portius, and many of the persons know that. I I know my beginnings, and I know where I come from. I'm the son of Manley Augustus Buchanan, and I can always reflect on that because my mother is the Reverend Dr. John Portius. So when my book is written, I don't there's a narrative that you won't hear me from, but what I can say is the humility that both my parents have taught me, um, ensuring that I do not look down and talk down to people, that I do not that I always stand up for righteousness and always stand up for what is right. And legally, because I am legally trained, I know what the legal implications are about anything that I say. And I have before, after being bullied by the media, taken my case to the competent court, to a place where actually there is competence. And I'm not going to fight with media houses in Jamaica, and I'm not going to be caused to sue. And I saw the edited pictures, I saw the cyber bullying, And there will be a time when legislation will prevent persons to do that. And because persons own media houses and they own bloggers, you should see the type of persons that are taking a lot of energy and are and equally as they speak down and in the most derogatory way towards me, they equally are angered and speak down on my brothers and sisters at Cooper's Town in Trelawney, Cooper's Pen. And I'm more sad about it. And I'm speaking about it because I just want people to understand that it never, many a times, and ironically, I was I know the poem when they came for us, because first it was Bernard Lodge, and they with a vengeance the military went in there and they 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 dehumanized them, and I was there, and I did not sit back. I went over there, and I was not a politician, but my soul was hurting. And then there was Loidas Vale, and every day one of the claimants. Every time it happened in St. Anne, it happened in St. Thomas, it's happening in St. Elizabeth, and every time this is happening, we have so many cases in court, and I'm compelled to always try to see what is there. And I see people are more concerned about the 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 court case. The government failed to take the matter to the Privy Council, and I'm only making this up because it's not until the Privy Council really rules on something that it is final. In the sense that w- the government having the ability to go all the way to the Privy Council, and because the administration changed, the new administration failed to carry it on. The director of state proceedings is changed, and they just didn't do it. The rights, the people who believed they had property rights, the people who settled um, were disenfranchised by actions of the very government that um, allowed the state to detain men and search their phones and had them for 13 hours, took pictures and took fingerprints. It's not happening to you, so you're not traumatized by it. In fact, there are lawyers that are saying that these people are lazy, and we should change squatter rights. And then in the next breath, the same people will say, oh, we should get reparations. And it's pointless to get reparations when they don't even want to give you land. They don't think that land ownership is something for everybody. So not everybody will feel the pain, and not everybody will understand. That's why I love my grandfather, who is no longer with us, and I love my mother, who is with us, and I love my father, because they never caused me to have to fight like other people for land. Yeah, they made sure that the essence of who I am, I don't have to worry about conversations by the integrity commission about where wealth comes from when in relation to me. I can say this here so that it will be there for history. And so when somebody wants to paint you because you have juvenile convictions for nothing that includes theft, nothing that includes scamming or criminal or nothing fraudulent, and persons are trying to associate you with that, knowing that they sit with persons who are fraudulent, that they sit with persons who cannot account for their riches, knowing that they sit with persons who are allowed to use the justice system and ask that they be respected and are respected by the media houses and the nepotism and persons who are awarded. So I know, you see, because I anchor my expectations on God Just believe me, I always say that I lift up mine eyes to the hill from whence cometh my help. And my help cometh from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber below hold. He that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper, the Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will preserve thy going out and coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Selah. I um I'm ignoring it, but as I speak, media houses are paid to have conversations, to put out press, to put out articles, and to constantly report ISAT when it's supposed to be Cooper's pen. I don't ever want to be the distraction, and I realize that when I'm in my space, places you I'm in my space. So I'm just addressing this because when I go on TikTok and I am there and I'm trying to ensure that I get tablets for the kids, and every now and then you have somebody that a mother will come on and said, I don't have my passport and I'm trying to get my life together, or I'm stuck in Trinidad because I lost my job and I want to come back home, and we are here and we're helping them, or somebody is in a competition and they want you to support them. Somebody put out an album, and I'm here with the people, um, because I know, I always knew, I don't fit in with those people. They don't like me. Um, they when I became the candidate, they put out press release. They hate me, and hate is a kind word. So when they call me to when I'm invited as a matter of process and procedure to the events, I don't go because I don't go where I'm not wanted, and I don't go where I'm not welcome. So I don't expect persons who hate me to have compassion, empathy, or understanding towards me. And as I said, if they feel like that towards me, it is a reflect. They feel exactly. It is the same vitriol and hatred that is spewing towards me right now on social media, that they feel about poor people, that they feel about persons who are squatters. They hate the fact that one of the most accomplished lawyers in Jamaica is saying to people, protect your rights. Is saying to people that um, don't let them call you, don't let them turn something that is your right legally. And until the law change on what squatting is, you're an adverse possessor. There's a process, there's procedure. The Privy Council has pronounced on that. So respectfully, anybody outside of the Privy Council that speaks on it, you may have the power to change it in Parliament. And yes, I'm in there. So I could see why you want to call on my leader, who has the highest amount of integrity, to speak about action and inaction. But while things are repetitive, God let you learn things from then. So when it happens in the now, you address it. You're not bullied. You're not silenced. You're not. You're not. You're not. Deal. You don't end up with mental trauma because the hate and the focus. It is cyberbullying, but you see, unlike the professor of Cambridge who studied and was accomplished, and because of an accusation he has been found dead, and everybody goes, oh well, he probably just was weak-minded and killed himself. That will not happen to a Isaac Buchanan. I know what my duty is and I know what my purpose is, and I just want people to know that um, when persons are misunderstood, that's why from the same misunderstanding, context matters, has been created. Now, I will say again, if ever somebody misunderstands me, because I do understand that when it comes to language, when it comes to satire, sarcasm, the ability to be comical and jovial, that it is a first world construct. I do understand and appreciate that, although we have lost the great minds that were journalists who understood investigative journalism and is not in the passa passa and the cascas. This is um, the same media houses that carried went on social media and put out a press release to say that I don't like to bathe, and found it funny to make references to me as a stinking, dirty Rastaman, and to always try to reduce who I am. So I am aware it is cyberbullying, but I am protected by God, and I have the greatest support group around me. And again, I don't eat wherever you eat. I don't drink from the same fountain as you. I keep my mental pure. Nobody can say that my integrity, my being, and the essence of who I am is compromised. Yes, I have never been given favor or opportunity that, and I've never gotten anything in life that wasn't by merit. No friending for me. And I'm just making that clear. So um, while you enjoy the public assassination, tomorrow is another day, and enjoy the 9 days that comes with a targeted media campaign that was paid for by resources that could have gone to the people of Cooper's Pen. And when tomorrow comes, the government will still have to find a way to put these people in a position better than they were in, because this is embarrassing on the world stage. And when people are finished calling for my resignation, there will still be false imprisonment. There will still be breaches of rights to privacy. There will be stripping of human dignity. There will be still be sufferation and sorrow. There will be disenfranchisement. And it is the duty of the government to fix it, because they allowed the JCF, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, to go to Cooper's Pen and destroy hopes, dreams, and the lives of families, and leave other families to experience the genetic transference of the slave experience, the trauma that has come from post traumatic slave syndrome, the separation of the men, leaving the women and children to be helpless and experience that trauma. It changes your genetic, and there's no answer, there's no speech that can come to say I sympathize, I empathize. Go there. And if anybody wondered why the party leader went there and why I went there, we have always gone to spaces when these things happen, when there are legal implications that flow from it. And this is not about ownership and private ownership. This is about duty of government to ensure that it doesn't abuse its people. And all persons, whether you're elected or selective, you are servants of the people. And if your intention is to abuse them, it is you who should resign. Not from a shadow cabinet, but you are government, and you are the person with the handle. And I just want to make that clear, and I'm going to leave it like that. And that's my Friday night context short. I'm finished now, man.
Right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, them say life much better, you live it your own way. It took some time to understand, yeah, 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 just what it takes to be a man. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way. Like growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face the world with your head screwed on. But in time you will see it comes naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better, you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call on me, I will be your friend. And when it gets hard to face the world with your head screwed on, just tell yourself you can. And that's when you'll understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving, moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, we gotta take it to the next level when they come around. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up, yeah. Just keep your head up, yeah. Gotta keep your head up, yeah. 'Cause everything's gonna be alright.